Now here we are again with the latest in the Oxford school shooting. So let's bring you the very latest since your local news, or since Inside Edition. Now what I've done before the show is I've put together a simple playlist. And for those who want to see the playlist, we'll have an annotation up top for you guys on the right hand side of your screen. That way you know what I'm talking about. So Monday was his court appearance for both the parents, but here's the good thing. The lawyers asked to move the suspect back to juvenile facility. But what we've now realized is that they couldn't do that because he's charged as an adult. Now, for those who missed a few days of this broadcast, here's what I'm going to tell you, break it down for you. November 30th, he shot the school. When he got caught, he was charged as an adult. The parents weren't anywhere to be found until days after the shooting, when the parents were found in an abandoned in a studio. Now the person that saw the parents didn't even know him, and they were arrested. The parents are charged with involuntary manslaughter, and the 15-year-old juvenile is now charged with 4 counts of murder. He's in jail right now. But there are new developments to this story. Like, for instance, and just to let you know before we continue, while I'm doing the show, I am adding on new videos to the playlist. And there's also new developments, like the Hopkins teacher on leave after those comments. And now, the Michigan School Board wants to ban lockers and backpacks. So what does that mean for the students? Here is the very latest from Inside Edition.
They haven't seen each other since their arrest 10 days ago, but there they were in a Michigan courtroom, James and Jennifer Crumley, their arms shackled in prison uniforms, sitting apart. Then, an extraordinary moment. Crumley mouths the words, "I love you," to his wife. The parents have been charged with involuntary manslaughter after allegedly giving their 15-year-old son, Ethan, access to a gun and failing to intervene before the shooting that left 4 students dead.
You people have lied to us. The first value on the school is trust. We don't trust you anymore. Now we've had catastrophic failures at your watch, and you don't want to talk about it?
The first school board meeting since the shooting was held last night and drew a lot of angry parents.
The fact is clear. He was told that he needed help. He was told that he needed to go home. His parents dictated that they weren't taking him. It wasn't an option. It's not an option. If they don't want to take him, the right people should have been called. Period.
When the school reopens after the holidays, new safety measures for students will be enforced, including no lockers and no backpacks.
When my 4th grader came home from school last Friday, he asked me why his school is searching him and treating him like a criminal.
A judge has denied a request to move the suspected shooter to a juvenile jail. The Crumbleys and their son have all pled not guilty.
So now what we know so far is all parents are pleading not guilty. Now, going back to the juvenile thing, the judge denied that he be moved to a juvenile detention, and that was because he'd be a threat to others. So now he's moving on to the jail, where another court date may happen. We don't actually know what's going to happen right now. But here's what we do know so far. Just 2 days ago, NBC News just reported that a $1 million lawsuit, that the school district is facing a $1 million lawsuit over the school shooting, saying they failed to protect. The school denies this. Here's the latest from NBC News.
Targeted benefits from Centra, designed.
What does the school have to say about this? I'll tell you what I have to say, but first, here's the latest from NBC News.
Accused school shooter Ethan Crumley returned. Tonight, accused school shooter Ethan Crumley returning to court in Michigan.
Could you state your full name for us, please?
The 15-year-old is charged as an adult with murder, terrorism, and other counts for allegedly killing 4 students and wounding 7 other people during a November 30th shooting at Oxford High School.
I still have the flashbacks of hearing the gunshots and the crying and sadness.
I can't move on from this because I know 4 kids won't be able to move on from this.
Crumley's defense arguing that he should be moved back to an Oakland County juvenile detention facility because he could hear adult inmates inside the jail.
I do have concerns for him and his mental and emotional well-being. Jail isn't conducive, it's not designed for juveniles.
Judge Karniak denying the request.
I still feel strongly about that his conduct could be a menace to other juveniles.
As Crumley faces his charges, a federal civil lawsuit has been filed against the Oxford Community School District. The $100 million suit was filed on behalf of a student who was shot in the neck during the shooting and her sister by their father, Jeffrey Franz. The lawsuit alleges the school failed to protect students from a peer who was deranged and homicidal. Experts calling the action a long shot.
Public schools are part of the government. Generally speaking, the government can't be sued unless it gives its permission to be sued.
In a filing in the federal suit, the Franz attorneys also accused the district of destroying crucial evidence linked to Crumley's case. One attorney writing in a filing on Friday, quote, "Not only did defendants fail to take necessary steps to preserve the evidence, but they willfully destructed the evidence by deleting the web pages and social media accounts." U.S. District Judge Terrence Burke has ordered the school to keep all evidence related to the case. An attorney for the Oxford School District saying the accusations are totally false. Crumley is set to appear at another court hearing on January 7th. Crumley's attorney has not responded to NBC's request for comment. Katie Beck, NBC News.
So now we know so far they destroyed the evidence, deleted social media accounts, and if that goes to court, we'll bring you the very latest. And the next court date is going to happen on January 7th, which is going to be weeks. We'll bring you the very latest as it goes along, and on a future show, in a week or two, we'll tell you how you can survive a school shooting, which we're going to talk about right now in separate parts. When we come back, how you can survive a school shooting, like in those, like in many of those school shootings. We had Columbine, Sandy Hook, Texas Tech, and now Oxford. We'll be right back. With 4 shootings happening this year, the question remains, how do you survive a school shooting or a school massacre shooting? We've had Columbine, we've had Texas Tech, Sandy Hook Elementary, and now the latest from Oxford, because every violent juveniles or adults can carry a gun. And now the very latest on this. I mean, before the shooting, they had a safety tip. Let's see if I can find it. And we're going to give you the latest inside dish in just a minute. But what I want to do actually, let's play you the latest. Let's play you Inside Editions. This was from 6 years ago, so I want you to bear with me here because when you go to, because let me tell you something. When you go to school, your child is expected to be safe. We talked about this during COVID, And now comes the latest from these school shootings. And with all this happening, we need to make sure our kids are safe when they go to school. 3 things: education, safety, and discipline. That's the 3 things we need. So what are the secret tips you can do to survive a campus shooting? Here's Inside Edition.
Come on, guys, hurry, quick, help me with this cable. We're doing everything we can at this door.
It may be the most important lesson students learn in class: how to survive a campus shooting.
Shut the lights.
It's something every student has to think about in the wake of the community college massacre in Oregon.
Now we're going to go in the corner, and we're going to be quiet, and we're just going to wait for backup.
Security expert Bill Stanton says you need to make a barricade using furniture to keep a gunman out of a classroom. In this demonstration, these students are doing just that with a table, holding the barricade firmly in place while staying low in case the gunman fires through the door. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department recently produced this graphic training video of a shooting on a college campus, along with tips on how to survive.
Stay behind me. Use cover, something that will stop a bullet, and concealment, something that at least keeps you out of sight.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Stanton says if there is a chance to escape, take it. Running in a zigzag pattern makes you a difficult target to hit.
You're running in a zigzag, so you can't get shot, and you're running as hard and fast as you can.
But what if the gunman gets into the classroom, as crazed killer Chris Harper Mercer did?
This is the absolute worst case scenario. You're in an enclosed area, there's a gunman at the door, it's fight or die because there's no way out.
Everybody move! I'm gonna kill you all!
Our security expert says as a last resort, use every available weapon. Bags, furniture, fists, anything to overpower the gunman.
If you're in a situation where there is no way to get out, it really has to be a group effort.
It really does need to be a group effort. I can either run to the back of the class and be a target, or I could fight for my life. And the more people engaged in that fight, the better chance everyone has to survive.
And these tips can really help you guys. Can help you all out if you guys are in trouble like this. But in this case right here, they followed those safety tips from the Oxford shooting, and give props to that. But what else can you do? There are lots of ways. WikiHow has a lot of ways of escaping safely, like this one. Run away whenever possible. Zigzag. Know your escape routes. Even if you have to use the emergency ones that aren't have any alarms on them. Go. Don't rule out second-story windows that you have to break. You can't survive cuts, broken glass from a fall, and most of the name shoes. I don't know. React immediately. Don't freeze up. Waste time debating your opinions. Find an escape route. If your shoes prevent you from running, you need to take them off and carry them with you. Carry them with you immediately. Don't forget your belongings. If you're determined to best to run, forget your wallet, forget your purse, forget your cell phone. The only thing I tell you to your possessions with you, none of them are as important as your life. Run directly to the exit, but bring people with you. Grab a weapon only if convenient, like something to defend yourself. Even though you may be charged for assault, you may be a hero. If you have to fight, close distance with your friend. As close as you can without being noticed. Grab the barrel with one hand and cover the injection with the port. Try to keep the muzzle in the safe direction. Shoot a pull trigger. Go over fire only once between the hand covering the port because malfunction weapon cycle around. You must not use those hunking metal and shoot clear and cycle around. Proving up to if you take the weapon to shoot it. What else can you do? We'll tell you next. Now moving on to the second method of this. Hiding and barricading yourself. Choose a course of action if running is possible. Hiding is the second option because traps in the area. However, most mass shooting events over the 10-15 minutes. If you can avoid the shooter for that long, you have a good chance of surviving. Split tasks with the people in the room. One person should call 911, a group should lock and barricade the door, and one group should grab anything that could be used as a weapon. A book, your boot, as long as you can use it as a weapon. Turn off the lights. Block and barricade the door with a desk. Chairs won't work. A big table would do. Not a table like this. A big, like a desk. Push the desk if you have to. If you're in a bathroom that doesn't lock, loop a belt or a t-shirt around the arms of the door butler. The metal hinge on top of the door lets open. Call emergency services. Grab any weapons you can find. Scissors, staplers. Or if your state allows armed teachers, the teachers can bring a gun. That may be mocked. Find cover. Identify a spot that cannot restrict your movement in situation changes. You may be able to run as fast as possible, even if you're a fast runner. Find a concealment to hide if cover is not available. And the big one is turn off anything that makes noise. Your time silence yourself with other electronics so the sound won't encourage the shooter to approach you. Stay calm. This isn't a fire drill. Like, oh my God, there's a fire! Oh my God, now what do we do? Play dead as a last resort. Now, the third one is engaging the shooter. Now, this may be a risk, but you may be called a hero. And when you're giving that speech, you just say, it was WikiHow. But if you're going to try that, here's the thing. You need to remember that attacking the shooter is your final option. Don't jump out of your hiding place and attack the shooter you're approaching. You should only fight them if you're sure that you're shot. If you're sure that you're shot, you do nothing. Try like one of those, like in one of those Batman games. Like, do like a silent takedown. Don't try to reason with the shooter, plead your life. Try and engage with the shooter, ask him what they're doing, plead for your life, talking about your family, this and that. Don't waste your time talking to them if you're much better off fighting. Work with others to create confusion. Attack the shooter with any weapon you can. Aim high. I mean, women can kick them in the crotch. You got the head. The head is the best. The shoulder, the forearm, and the groin can be the great option. Commit to the attack. Now, the fourth method here is preventing or preparing for a workplace shooting. Report any suspicious activity. You need to be aware of your school's workplace lockdown procedures. Be prepared for a shooting. The fifth method is just when emergency services arrive. Don't run to law enforcement. If you're wounded, wait for a paramedic or a firefighter. Keep your hands up. Tell the police what you know. Move in the direction the police came from. If you're confused, just ask the officer. Which direction did you come from? Obey police instructions immediately. Do as fast as possible without any argument. Don't argue with them. You're not a real hero. You're not Captain America, Spider-Man, Superman. You're not a hero. And if you want to be that type of hero to stop that shooter, and basically try your best. And speaking of these shootings, we talked about this earlier this year and on last season, but we're going to talk about it again. It's about arming teachers. Now, in case you didn't remember, when Donald Trump was president, he had the idea of having teachers bring guns, hence the term arming teachers. And Trump was mocked at that because it seems like a terrible idea. But if I had to ask the superintendent of my old school if it would be a great idea, And it could prevent those shootings from happening. So,
shooting in South Florida.
17 people shot to death. What can be done about school shootings? Some say kids will be safer if some teachers carry guns. President Trump said that.
We need to let people know, you come into our schools, you're going to be dead.
Trump was mocked for suggesting teachers have guns.
Arm a teacher is completely insane.
It's a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea. But Trump's critics probably don't even know that many teachers have brought guns to school for years. In Texas, teachers carry in about 200 schools. This high school advertises that.
I can see that sign out on the highway. Boy, it's a great, man.
Parents we interviewed here like the policy.
It's a good idea.
I think we need it. It makes me feel safer.
I love the Keen gun policy.
Superintendent Ricky Stevens created it, saying if there's trouble, teachers want to go defend the kids.
We know our staff and our teachers are going to go. Do we want them to go with a pencil or go with a pistol?
Everybody's against it.
This Florida student says teachers carrying guns is a terrible idea.
You're asking a teacher to fight an assault rifle with a handgun. That seems like a pretty unfair fight to me.
The teachers have handguns against somebody with a big gun. That's not much.
It's not much, but it's better than nothing. If you go there with nothing, you have no chance of stopping anything.
The police come. They see your teacher with a gun. How do you keep them from shooting her?
We train a lot with our local law enforcement. So that helps us because we want them to at least know we're there and at least recognize us. If they happen to get shot while they're stopping a tragedy, all of our guardians have said, you know, that's just the price of being a guardian.
His teacher saw how during the Florida school shooting, the security guard waited outside.
It made me mad.
It's a reason she's glad she can carry her gun at school.
You have to have a fighting chance if something should happen at our school.
We hid her identity because she and the school don't want a potential attacker to know which teachers are armed.
Are you carrying now?
Of course.
Many people say armed teachers create new dangers.
Teacher accidentally fired a gun in his classroom.
At this California school, a teacher mistakenly shot at the ceiling. One student was slightly hurt by falling debris. But that's the only incident we could find where a student was injured.
Took a rifle to his...
On the other hand, armed teachers have stopped school shootings.
16-year-old Luke Woodham has been arrested.
When this student killed two classmates, an assistant principal with a gun held the killer at gunpoint until police arrived. We don't know how often armed teachers deter shootings. The media can't cover crimes that never happened. The media also distort what President Trump proposed.
Donald Trump said teachers should have guns. Teachers should not be required to protect and serve and to teach.
Required? No teacher's required to carry. It's voluntary. Those who want to bring their guns to school can. Here's another distortion.
I really do not support the idea of arming teachers.
Arming teachers. Arming teachers. A new federal program? That's not what the president proposed. Lots of teachers already have guns. All a school has to do is allow some to bring their guns to school. At the Keene School District, however, Superintendent Stevens did create a new government program.
The school purchases a gun, and then we give them and register them to our teacher.
That way, he says, he can make sure all teachers have training on the same type of gun. Finally, as we ponder the best way to keep students safe, we should address the scariest myth.
The epidemic of shootings.
The epidemic of school shootings.
Despite what the media say, there is no epidemic of school shootings. No sharp increase. School shootings kill far fewer kids than driving, suicide, drowning, even suffocating. Why now? School shootings are not in a big uptick.
Exactly right. But we prepare for them because if even one shooting happens, it's more than we would want.
You're 10 times as likely to die suffocating.
Right.
I mean, you can't protect against all these things.
No, but we do train our kids in school how to not suffocate, how not to drown.
Certainly, Stevens' armed teacher program is cheaper than what my town does. New York City spends hundreds of millions of dollars stationing police officers in and around schools. Of course, here and in most blue states, suggesting that some teachers carry weapons horrifies people.
They don't understand that a responsible, trained teacher with a firearm is better than having a teacher with nothing. Texas will definitely probably be leading the way when it comes to protecting our kids with weapons, and that New York would choose to go a radically different way.
I'm glad that we live in a country where the local people can decide what goes on in their school district and not a bunch of people in New York City.
It's good that America has 50 states. That allows experiments. Teachers in New York City may fear guns, but teachers in Texas can serve and protect.
And for the first time ever after the Oxford shooting, kids are going to be coming back. We'll bring you the latest in the new year. That's all we have for now. We'll keep looking into this. In fact, in the new year, in a few weeks or towards the new year, we'll probably do an example of how we can survive school shootings, and I'll probably talk with Solis Garcia about the idea of arming teachers. We have to be safe as we approach 2022. We don't need this happening. And it's not an epidemic. But I ain't done with you yet. Before we go, here's what we got coming up for you tomorrow. Here's what we, but I want to stress this out. School shootings are not an epidemic. It's the real thing. It's not, people like epidemic, like COVID and all that stuff. It's not an epidemic. It's been happening since a lot of times. If you watch an episode of Everybody Hates Chris, you'll know that, I'm not going to be racist, but it's, school shootings were invented by the black people, but stolen by the white people. Now, I didn't make this up. I saw an episode of Everybody Hates Chris. So if you're going to accuse me of being racist, look it up. Look it up and watch the episode, and you'll know what I'm talking about. That's all for this edition of Cut Me a Break Wednesday going to Thursday. We'll see you again for Cut Me a Break Friday. And if there's anything going on with the trial of the Crumleys, we'll bring you up to date. If there's any of our teachers, we'll let you know. And if there's anything else going on, we'll report it. And if there's Christmas stuff, we'll report it. And anything else, we'll report it too. For all of us here at YouTube, have a good night.